Let's just get right to it. AI can now do in seconds what used to take a human expert weeks. We're already seeing the pressure on entry-level jobs, and honestly, it's creating this deep underlying anxiety for professionals everywhere. It all boils down to one question we're all quietly asking.
I mean, if the very thing I spent years, maybe even decades, training for can now be done by a machine, then what exactly is my value? Where do I even fit in anymore?
But hold on. What if we're asking the wrong question? Maybe the problem isn't what you know. Maybe the real answer lies in how you think.
There's this incredible line from David Epstein's book Range that just cuts right through the noise. In a wicked world, relying on a single domain can be disastrous. Think about that word, disastrous. It suggests our whole approach of hyper-specialization might actually be a huge vulnerability. So let's dig into what that really means for us.
Okay, first things first, we have to figure out what kind of world we're actually operating in, because not all problems are the same, and the domain you work in changes absolutely everything.
All right, so here's the breakdown. A kind environment is predictable. Think about chess or golf. The rules are clear, patterns repeat, and you get instant, accurate feedback on every move you make. AI is an absolute rock star in these worlds. But then, you've got wicked environments. This is where most of us actually live and work, right? Business strategy, politics, trying to figure out human behavior. The rules are unclear, or they're constantly changing. Feedback is slow, or sometimes you don't get it at all. And context. Context is everything. So here's the first question for you. Which domain do you operate in? Is your job a predictable game of chess, or are you navigating a world where the rules are shifting right under your feet?
This leads us right to the second big idea. You know, the story is always framed as human versus machine. But the reality, and the real opportunity, is human plus machine.
Remember this? For years, radiology was the poster child for AI disruption. The thinking was, an AI can spot patterns in medical scans way better than any human can. It really seemed like a specialist's worst nightmare was coming true.
But that is not what happened. Not at all. The AI didn't replace them, it supercharged them. The best radiologists today use AI as a powerful partner. The AI handles the kind work, the repetitive pattern spotting, and that frees up the human expert to focus on the really complex, messy, wicked cases that require judgment and true medical wisdom. That's the model. So if the answer isn't just to specialize even more deeply, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us to our third framework, the huge advantage of being a generalist, of having range.
Okay, so picture this. You've got a brilliant analytics wizard who spends their weekends restoring old cars. Or you have a top-tier financial auditor who is obsessed with baking cakes.
Now, the old model of work, the hyper-specialized model, would say yes, they're wasting their time. Every hour spent with a wrench is an hour not spent on a spreadsheet, right? But that way of thinking misses the entire point.
They are not wasting their time. They are building range. That outside knowledge, that experience from a totally different world, is what allows them to see analogies and connect dots that their narrowly focused colleagues simply can't. It is their secret weapon for solving wicked problems.
So when you put all three of these ideas together, understanding your domain, partnering with AI, and building your range, you start to develop something incredibly powerful. Let's call it the innovator's mindset.
There was this researcher, Abby Griffin, who studied what she called serial innovators, people who just create breakthrough after breakthrough. And she found they all had a few things in common. They have a high tolerance for ambiguity. They're systems thinkers. They're amazing at repurposing existing ideas. And, this is the big one, they connect information from completely different fields to create something new.
Now look at that list again. That's not a job description for some genius out there. It's not a set of traits you're either born with or you're not. Every single one of these is a skill. It's a mindset that you can deliberately cultivate.
So let's bring it all back home. That anxiety we started with is real, but maybe it's been pointing us in the wrong direction all along.
Because this is it. This is the takeaway. The question you should be asking isn't, will AI take my job? The real question is, are you actively building the kind of thinking that AI cannot replicate? And look, if you're a leader who's navigating these very questions inside your organization, questions about talent, capabilities, about where human judgment still wins, the team at Catalyst lives and breathes this stuff. They work with leaders thinking through these exact challenges. You can start that conversation at acatalyst.com.